Take 20 seconds. Once your food's there, put every other distraction away, look at it, and watch and feel what happens with your saliva. Think about if you're eating your food and you're on your phone, or you're standing, or you're on the go, or you're eating in the car, and you're gonna have less saliva production because you're still in that fight or flight potentially. And then I'm consuming a lot of processed foods. I'm not chewing it. I'm overeating. I'm eating it too quickly. Next thing you know, we have these digestive issues. Hey everyone, welcome back to a Rest, Eat, Move podcast. It's Matt solo in the studio coming off the 4th of July week. Hope everyone had a great 4th of July celebrating America and all the things that we're grateful for. What I'm going to do over the next several podcasts is I'm going to do a series on digestion. Digestion, absorption, elimination, it all goes hand in hand. Gut health, the microbiome. And so each episode, I'm kind of going to go down a different path, a different conversation. Some conversations that I don't think happen enough, because digestion is a complicated, amazing, magical process that I believe we just think happens in the stomach. And so today we're going to start right at the beginning, and that's the mouth. And we're going to call this overfed and underchewed. And so one of my reasons of doing this podcast is I see a lot of information out there, different products, different supplements, different recommendations where people can just consume all their nutrients through beverages. And that might be a little radical, that might be a little bit overblown, because we do eat food. I don't think most people are just drinking their food, but we're seeing a lot of supplements, a lot of companies, a lot of products, a lot of marketing where you can just drink your nutrients. Smoothies, shakes, energy drinks, functional beverages. These are going to be the things with adaptogens and collagen and nutrients and all these amazing micronutrients that you can fit into a beverage. You have juice, you have pop, you have alcohol, some have calories, some don't have calories. You have electrolyte powders, electrolyte drinks. And so this all sums up to about a $1.6 billion industry, beverages. And when you look at these beverages, why are they so popular? Why are they so readily available? It's because they're simple and easy. If I can put in nutrients and energy and all this stuff into a bottle and all you have to do is drink it, that's easy, that's quick, that's convenient. And you're going to find today, the whole point is I want you to have a smoothie from time to time. I want you to be able to get your nutrients quick and easy and on the go. Shakes and juicing and all these things can be very powerful. One of my favorite superfoods is wheatgrass juice. The reason that it's a juice is because you can't really digest the wheatgrass. But I don't recommend people just consuming wheatgrass. I don't recommend people just saying, I'm not going to get some nutrients because I want to eat my food. There is a balance, but I think we've tipped the scales, and I think we've gotten away from some of the foundational elements of why we chew our food. Overfed, underchewed. It's very easy to get a lot of calories without chewing your food. And when I was in school, I remember learning this. I don't hear it talked about much. It's called mastication, and that's the science of chewing. And when you look at chewing your food, there's a couple reasons why we want to chew our food. Number one, it helps to develop our jaw and our facial muscles. Why does that matter? Well, I do believe people want a good jawline. They want to have healthy face muscles. But when you look at our kids, less chewing equals weaker jaw, smaller airway, and more orthodontic issues. We've had more orthodontic issues than ever before. We're chewing less. Now you say, well, my kids eat a ton of food. Well, is it bread? Is it pasta? Is it very soft food? Applesauce? These things don't require a lot of chewing. And so we've evolved over the last 100 years of chewing less food. Number two, it weakens our digestion. And this is what we're talking about today. Digestion, less chewing equals less saliva, equals less enzyme activity, which means more bloating, gas, and poor absorption. It skips some of these hormonal signaling responses. So we talked about hormones a couple podcasts ago. And so chewing sends these signals to your brain that you're full. So when you chew your food and you chew it and chew it and chew it, and the body kind of sends these signals that you're full. Less chewing equals more overeating. If you're going to ask me one of the biggest weaknesses I have when I'm eating, it's that I eat too quickly. I'm hungry. I like food, it tastes good, and I just kind of keep consuming. We got to take some time. We got to chew our food. It sends these signals. Microbiome. So when we don't chew enough food and we don't get enough fiber, this microbiome gets out of balance. The diversity of fiber is so critical to that microbiome. And we'll go deeper into the microbiome, but soft processed foods lack the roughage or the fiber, and your gut bacteria love that, which is going to equal less diversity. And the last thing is less metabolic demand. So chewing and digesting Whole foods puts a metabolic demand on the body. And so one of the benefits of drinking your food is it's kind of blended. It's pre-digested. It might take a little bit of pressure off your digestion. Maybe you're kind of feeling like I don't have an appetite, or I don't want to be so full. But sometimes that is a benefit. So those are some of the 5 reasons we want to chew our food. But what's happening is we're consuming a lot of our calories through beverages, or we think that we can make up for a lot of these gaps with just adding it into a smoothie or adding it into a drink or buying this functional beverage. And I've seen a lot of advertisement where it's like, I just like to drink my nutrients. Again, there can be benefit. One of the benefits is it maybe could be better absorption if you consume some of these juices. So if I take a bushel of carrots and a bushel of apples and I juice it, I'm obviously getting a lot more nutrients overall because I'm juicing maybe 5 carrots and 2 apples, and I'd probably only consume 1 apple. But one of the downsides is it's less satisfying. So you don't have that fiber, you don't have that fullness. And the chewing process to me is the point of this podcast. And I learned this from my father a long time ago when juicing was really popular. So people at the time, this was probably 15 years ago, people at the time were saying, well, if you just juice your food, it's much more absorbable. You get a lot more nutrients. It's very alkalizing. It's going to help to prevent disease and illness. There is a reason we chew our food. And the biggest reason is we create these enzymes. And the largest enzyme you have in your mouth via saliva is called your amylase enzyme. And this amylase enzyme helps to digest carbohydrates. So let's think about this. You throw a bunch of food in your mouth and you chew it. And that chewing, saliva starts to create this breakdown. That's what an enzyme does. It starts to create this reaction, and that's where digestion begins. But if I just put it in my mouth, I chew it a couple of times and down I go, and I'm eating too fast, we don't get enough of that amylase enzyme. Well, great news. We have the safety mechanism in your pancreas to produce pancreatic amylase. It's not as potent, it's not as powerful, but we can do that. And so we still digest the food, we still break it down, but not as well. And so imagine I'm drinking a bunch of food or beverages that have calories equal food, energy, and then I'm consuming a lot of processed foods, I'm not chewing it, I'm overeating, I'm eating it too quickly. Next thing you know, we have these digestive issues. You need that fiber structure that we're talking about. You need the saliva. Everything begins and starts in the mouth. And so maybe you're saying, well, bloating. I feel bloated. I have gas. My hormones are out of whack. Or some of these symptoms are showing up. IBS, reflux. It's funny that you call it indigestion. Well, indigestion means I didn't digest the food. Maybe because you're not chewing it or you drank it. Then you have the lack of absorption potentially long term, or the inflammation. And inflammation to me is one of the biggest reasons why we want to make sure that we're chewing more food. We have this friend, and I was out to dinner with him one time, and he takes 20 seconds when the food comes to him, kind of to thank and be grateful for it. But one of the things he does is he looks at the food and allows the saliva production to begin. Think about if you're eating your food and you're on your phone, or you're standing, or you're on the go, or you're eating in the car, and you're going to have less saliva production because you're still in that fight or flight potentially. And so when people don't have an appetite, or people have that dry mouth, and you're not really looking to eat more food. But the same way as there's subtleties, if we're in a hurry, if we're multitasking when we're eating, if we're not taking the time to kind of get ready to eat, we're going to have potentially some digestive disturbances. Now, we're adaptable. We can survive. It's not going to be the end of the world. But these are some subtle tweaks that can really lead to better digestion. Take 20 seconds. Once your food's there, put every other distraction away. Look at it and watch and feel what happens with your saliva. And that's the point today, is your mouth creates a saliva production. In that saliva are these digestive enzymes, specifically amylase, that breaks down carbohydrates. We hear about carbohydrates, they make us fat, they're unhealthy. The truth is we want to eat more complex carbohydrates. The harder the food, the more the chewing, the more the fiber, but it's this amylase enzyme that breaks it down. Well, Matt, I'm allergic to gluten. Are you chewing food, or are you just letting it pass by? If I'm consuming gluten in white bread, I'm going to have less breakdown because I don't have the time for that amylase to work. Now, when you're thinking about chewing, what also happens is when you chew your food, it gets that stomach acid working. It creates bile. It has those digestive enzymes firing. And I like to think about it, your mouth is the blender for the body. And so we think about blending all of our foods. And I get this question all the time, Matt, can I just put it in a smoothie? I love smoothies. It's a kind of a transition from maybe I'm on the go, or maybe I want to get a lot of nutrients, but I'm not having a smoothie every day. And I'm definitely not having a smoothie every meal. And I definitely don't think I can get all my nutrients by just drinking it. Your mouth is the blender of the body. Don't just put already blended food in the body. So as we kind of think about this, mastication, chewing our food, overfed, underchewed. Let's come to an apple. I could juice an apple, and I could juice it right fresh and still have a lot of those nutrients. Maybe I juice 5 apples. I get a lot of the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals. But maybe I break down and I don't get as much fiber. Some of these fibers contain those digestive enzymes. Some of those fibers contain those pre and probiotics. I'm not saying most people are juicing their fresh fruit and they're really having the issue. What I'm saying is, would I rather you drink a beverage that's been processed, sitting on a shelf, or would I rather you have a whole food? I'm going to lean the scale. Let's just call it 60-40. For the most part, I'm going to really recommend you eat the food. Apples have enzymes, they have carbohydrates, they have vitamin C, they have potassium, B6, antioxidants, the pectin, water. And, I look at some of these electrolyte drinks and powders, and everyone's looking for the electrolytes. One of the best things you can do for your electrolytes is eat more food, specifically fruits and vegetables. Some vegetables have sodium, some fruits have, potassium, and these are where we can get electrolytes. And a lot of these vegetables contain water. And so let's back up. A $1.6 billion industry growing at 5 to 6% a year. Functional drinks are the fastest growing category, because we can put in prebiotics, CBD, collagen, peptides, different functions. We can get a drink with 50 grams of protein, very little effort, on the go. The work's already done for us. The marketing's incredible. But let's come back to the basics. 101. I learned this in college. I didn't think much of it. Who the heck needs to learn about mastication and chewing your food? Don't we all chew? But there's a nuance. Do we chew for a couple seconds and just keep shoving? Or do we take the time to enjoy the food, slow down, chew the food, use what the body naturally has created, this chemical messenger? Are we satisfied? Do we feel like we're not bloated? Do we eliminate some of the inflammation, break down the food, have better absorption and digestion? Your mouth is the blender for the body. I love that. Overfed and underchewed. Processed foods, so many beverages, lack of these complex foods to begin with. And so over this series, we're going to talk about digestion. Step 1 today is our digestion begins in the mouth. We're going to go through the entire body, the magic of it, the sophistication of it, why we're going down this path. The biggest reason to me that we're kind of starting this path is we're consuming too much processed foods, which sometimes mean beverages. For many people that recognize the crackers, the breads, the pastas, these are going to be lower, softer, chewable foods. And so digestion's a big deal. I think sometimes we bypass it and think, well, we can just hack it with taking digestive enzymes or pre and probiotics and put a Band-Aid on it. We're going to go back to 101. Today was mastication, chewing our food. Your mouth is the blender for the body. We'll see you again next time.